Hello, this is John, and I am so glad to see that you are also a Vigilant One. And I want to get right into this. So we're going to look at the percentage of ballots counted at 42%, and this was caught live on CNN. And we're going to go to the full live report as you see these numbers change, because you're going to see President Donald Trump is going to lose 19,958 votes. At the same time, Joe Biden picks up 19,958 votes, and that's called vote switching. All links that I use will be down in the description below, so you can look at the full video of where I get these video cuts from. Now we're going to go to the live feed from CNN. Now remember, the ballot count is at 42%, and this right here says next poll close. So you're going to see a countdown clock right here where you see that arrow circling. This is the countdown clock to the next poll close. And this is where they go through the updates of the votes cast per candidate. And it's at 42%. So we're going to let this play. For several people have recorded this live, thank goodness, because CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox News all took this point in time of the vote count down. They took their live feeds down. You can no longer find it from the main news networks. But due to the Vigilant Ones out there, they recorded this live. So let's take a look at this live feed right here.
Are to be decided, and that would push, and again, if you come at this from a Republican perspective, I did Joe Biden's math to get him up. Donald Trump's leading here, he's leading here, he's leading here, here. We expect him to win here. That's his. This one's interesting. We expect him to get this. And these normally would be Trump states out here and Alaska. So again, we're open to being surprised, but if it plays out in a traditional map, that's where we're going to be. That's where we'll be as we go to the West Coast, somewhere in that ballpark. This is not an exact science, but somewhere in that ballpark, looking at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and maybe Iowa, and then one more congressional district there. That's the way the map looks right now. That we're going to have that tension. We'll see. Sometime again, we've got.
As you can see, the countdown clock is at 51:19 seconds. They've got Pennsylvania vote count. Watch the vote count as we move forward and the countdown clock goes down. So when they come in with the update of the vote count, Donald Trump has lost over 19,000 votes, while at the same time, Joe Biden gained the exact amount of votes that Donald J. Trump, our president, has lost. Okay, so now that we're on the same page and can see how clearly this was vote switching, I'm not the only one that captured this. There are many people out there that have this video up and a video about this going up, and all you have to do is search 19,958 votes in either Google or on YouTube. But the thing is, with Google, you get the fact checkers, and I'm going to give you a great video down below, a link to it, where the fact checkers have been fact checked, and you find them to be extremely lacking in the truth. So before we move on to something that is called Hammer Scorecard, which is actual in the computer vote switching, we're going to take a look at the search on YouTube for this exact number, 19,958. So as we see up here in the YouTube search box, we're just going to search that, and you're going to find out, let's expand this a little bit. You're going to find that there's a great many other people caught that. Here's one talking about it. Another one right there, they caught it on their phone. Right here is, I think that's the one that I used for this. He actually recorded his TV while they were doing this live update. Here's another one, recording the TV, doing the live update. And you'll find many, many others. Actually, if you go to Google, you're going to find over 100,000 people using this exact keyword phrase search. So it's just not me. A lot of people out there have seen this and are asking questions about what's going on here. So let's go to a man that can explain to you what has transpired here. And I'm going to put a link to his full video down below. I'm just going to record a few minutes of it. The name of this man's channel is Quid Yin, and the name of the video is Hammer and Scorecard. ABC, CBS, CNN, NBC, live data feed. Analysts for Dummies. We're going to go ahead and play 3 minutes of this video, and then I'm going to link down below to the fullness of this video. For all you who are Vigilant Ones, you're going to want to listen to what this man says. He knows his stuff.
A lot of people are wondering if this is true. If all of the data and videos that I've been posting could just be a false narrative. Where is the real hard evidence, people ask? The real hard evidence of voter fraud, of the vote switching program, Hammer and Scorecard, was recorded by the federal government in a sting operation that coordinated the Department of Homeland Security and the election officials in states across the country. They knew that the Dominion voting system was controlled by a group of deep state operatives within the Democratic Party. They knew that they had lion's shares of investments in these programs and that they were going to use the program. As a matter of fact, they knew that they were using it in Florida in 2012. They saw it being used in the primaries to elect Joe Biden over and above Bernie Sanders. Approximately 500,000 votes switched from Trump to Biden in this election. This is not a software glitch, people. This is a massive theft. How do we know this? Well, what you have to do is you have to analyze the raw data. And these raw data dumps from the election come from this data source. For those of you programmers out there that like to work with MySQL and would like to create a nice little diagram of before and after election fraud, you're welcome to dive deep into that. I'm going to show you a website tonight that's already done that fairly comprehensively and has done a hell of a job. All of the links are being blocked on social media. So it appears that hundreds of thousands of votes were switched from Trump to Biden via this software control system of the voting machines. And this was done in real time. This is what was described as Hammer and Scorecard. And it was done during election night, and it was why the footage was caught live on the screen. And that's what you looked at in some of the past videos. This also explains why election counting was slowed in swing states. Why is that? Well, they had to allow the election theft to be coordinated and executed simultaneously. And so they had to slow the counts, and they were slowing it digitally. They were slowing the updates so that they could coordinate, because some of these states, Trump was winning by so much, they couldn't just flip the whole state over. They had to delete a lot of votes as well. You'll see that. So this guy, Petty Inspector, explains how he wrote a script to detail all of the instances of votes being lost or switched from Biden to Trump from this statistical data source. Now, who uses this data source? The author claims that this data is from Edison Research, and it is the same data that is used for election coverage by at least ABC News, CBS, CBN, CNN, and ABC News. Now, I want you to share this clip because I'd like those naysayers who actually have DVRs and have recorded ABC, CBS, CNN, or NBC, that recorded it that night, to go back through and look. First of all, find this website. I'm going to provide a link in the description. Make sure you save it because they'll probably delete it fairly quickly. And what I'd like you to do is grab this, look through the data, and see if you can find it for yourself, the data flops. So the JSON feed is a JavaScript feed. A data feed is like a transaction log. And the way they would like to compare it is to like the flight data recorder or a black box recorder on a commercial airliner. What they're basically saying, so this is how you would write the script, the actual scripting language, in the data file itself. This is how the switches would be made. So this would be like data set 1, and then this would be data set 2. And this is what they would look like inside of the Excel spreadsheet, so to speak. And here's the source. And anyone that pulls this data will see this tabulated data. This graph shows two updates on voting totals, update 27 and update 28. Now I want to point something out here that a lot of people don't know. 0.578 is 50%, 57% of the votes. Biden J, 0.401 is 40% of the votes. Well, what votes? Of the total of 573,857 votes. Well, these votes are cumulative. As the votes come in here, the vote totals go up. But what we're seeing and what happens is Donald Trump's percentage of the vote total actually drops down, and Biden's vote totals constantly keep gaining. On top of that, they can actually prove that some of these votes were actually also lost. So an example of this is on update 27, 573,857 votes were tallied, of which Donald Trump won 57.8%, about 331,689 votes. Now, in an election, your votes aren't going to go down. Your votes are going to go up. Everyone's votes are going to go up. Some are going to go up faster. Some are going to go up slower. There may be one or two instances in which votes might switch. There might be a recount, or there might be one county that this occurred in. So if it were a couple of locations around the country and a couple of data feeds in this data feed, that would be reasonable. Now take a look at update 28. Trump votes equals 56.7% of the 574,417, equaling 325,000 total votes. It went down by 5,995 votes. Biden's votes, he gained that percentage. Not all of it, but some of it. And what was happening was, because Trump was winning by such large margins, they not only had to switch his votes to Biden, they had to subtract votes from Trump. And votes were lost in every state in the union. As you can see, votes were taken from Trump and added to Biden. In this case, it was only a few thousand votes, but there were thousands of other votes switched transactions in the logs. Here is a detailed list. And remember, he points out, black box recorders recovered after a jet crash. All the data is intact. We know that this election was stolen over the net in real time. This list is organized by voting systems. And now they're going to highlight some of the swing states. In Pennsylvania, they recorded 220,883 votes that switched to Joe Biden. Trump lost 941,248 votes. They stole 1.1 million votes in Pennsylvania. It's a massive theft. 80,000 were switched in New Jersey. 21,000 were switched in Florida. The list goes on, people. This is a systemic issue across the nation, except in some of these areas: Hawaii, Washington, Alaska, Nevada. Kansas and Texas used premier elections solutions owned by Dominion Voting. Look at this. Texas with another 14,000. What is that? That's 45,000 margin. They switched 15,000, or 14,954, and then they just disappeared 35,557. This went on all across the country. When this gets to the Supreme Court, and here's the key, when this gets to the Supreme Court, we've all heard Rudy speak about this, about the evidence, about taking it to the Supreme Court. So I won't bother you with Rudy and Bannon's discussion on the topic. Though I'll provide a link where you can look at this yourself. Of course, Twitter's claiming that this is election fraud is disputed. Well, of course it's disputed. It's going to be disputed in the Supreme Court.
Thank you for watching. All links down in the description. Please sub my channel, hit the bell notification for further videos. Seek the truth daily. The truth will find you seeking.